Dr. Tyson. A long time, well, not a long time ago, but a while back, there was this whole thing with Pluto. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. And like many other people, I was a bit upset about it. I had no idea who was responsible for it or anything like that. I honestly, I didn't, not only did I not know that you were involved in any element like that, I didn't even know who you were at all. I'd never heard of you before. And it wasn't until an episode of Stargate Atlantis that I first kind of saw you, heard of you, anything like that. And then suddenly there was a face. There was a face to apply this sense of animosity to. And that lasted for a very long time because I couldn't figure out who you were. Everywhere I looked, I could see your name. But the thing I think that bothered me the most was that until an episode of Star Talk with Will Wheaton, at about the 28, maybe 29-minute mark, he refers to as Dr. Tyson. I had never before, that I recalled, and don't recall a time since, that anyone has ever referred to you as Dr. Tyson that I have been aware of. And so part of my brain, which was just steeped in this anger, was casting about for ways to just cast just in the worst light possible. And so here I am thinking, who is this guy? He's not even a doctor, and he's making decisions that none of that matters anymore. Eventually, at some point after the Star Talk episode, I actually, it might have been just a little bit before. I guess that was 2012. It might have been just before that. I finally, for the first time, heard an explanation as to the logic behind why Pluto was taken off the planetary roster and, put somewhere else on the second string, as it were, the junior varsity lineup of stellar bodies, as it were. And for the first time since I'd first heard about it, it made sense. It was described in such a way that it finally made sense. And I thought, if it had been explained to me like this back then, I'd have been okay with it. I'd have been fine with it. And I finally started thinking, wow, okay, maybe I've been doing this guy a disservice. Maybe I should really rethink this just juvenile, hatred, not hatred, that sounds too negative, but just animosity, towards this guy. It just doesn't seem like it's right anymore. I mean, everything that I just loathed about the man it doesn't apply anymore. So suddenly you came back up to kind of neutral territory with me. And okay, fine. And I was all right with it. But I was merely all right with it. I didn't see any reason to really it's going to sound really shallow. I didn't see any reason to apologize for it at the time. And then I saw Cosmos. Saw the pilot episode of Cosmos. And I have always been a huge fan of Carl Sagan. Huge fan of Carl Sagan since way back when I first started watching him. First started watching Cosmos on PBS back in Dallas. I was a Carl Sagan fan from way back. And then there is you, kind of stepping into those shoes, becoming the host of the new Cosmos, or perhaps better thought of as the continuation of Cosmos. And I wasn't sure how I felt about it. I hadn't seen it yet, but I'd heard that you were going to be the host. And it wasn't until maybe 2 or 3 weeks after it had been on the air, I found the website that has the things, because I don't really watch TV. But I do watch things on the internet. And so I went to the website and I watched the first episode, and I wept. I genuinely, unabashedly wept. and I was floored at how fantastic it was. I had seen people talking about it on Twitter and other places. Oh my God, the new Cosmos is so amazing. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. And I discovered that not only were they right, but they couldn't quite match up with words exactly how good it really was. And watching the part where you talk about your meeting with Carl Sagan, and my entire view of everything about you completely shifted. A complete and total just refocusing of everything. So I decided, finally, to make this video, now that we are many episodes, I think 12 episodes now, into Cosmos, and I have been thinking about this apology for a while. Basically, since I watched the first episode, I've been trying to figure out, how do I apologize to this man, because I have done him an just unbelievable injustice, a disservice that I don't think I can ever undo. And I don't know what I can I don't know how to go about apologizing beyond this, because I mean, anything more than this would require that I be in your presence or something. It just feels like this is my best opportunity, my best option at this point, to very heartfeltedly, very humbly, and in a very heartfelt sense, please beg you to forgive me for all of the animosity that I have kind of directed at you. And I hope that A, you can accept that, and B, I hope that this can possibly, maybe, help anybody else who has been upset with you for any reason, convince them to try to look at you in a different light, try to look at you for the things that you're doing. I mean, it may seem, kind of cheesy to say this, but as far as I'm concerned, there is no better person to have stepped up and become the inheritor of Carl Sagan's legacy. You are the right man for the job. You are the best man for that job. And I thank you from the deepest place in my heart for stepping up and taking that mantle on, because that cannot be an easy thing to do. So, thank you. And I hope that you continue for generations upon generations to educate and entertain. And I'm sorry.